BTB listeners, thank you so much for checking out today's episode. Listen, if this episode inspires you, do me a favor, take 5 seconds to shoot me a like and subscribe to the podcast. There are several more exciting guests that are in the pipeline, and I just can't thank you enough for your continued support, and let's keep paying the mission forward. The truth that I want to make sure you understand as the listener is most people miss who they've become because they're still looking ahead instead of noticing who they already are. What are you built to be? What are you built to become? The time is now. The time is right now. You weren't built to break. You were built to be something greater. Welcome to Season 2 of the BTB Project. I'm your host, Coleman Gearhart. I was the overweight kid, the one counted out, lost 100 pounds, found purpose in the pain, and turned my setbacks into a story worth telling. This podcast isn't about perfection. It's about persistence. It's about identity, discipline, and comebacks. Getting up one more time and becoming who we're always meant to be. If you're ready to go deep, do the work, and live out what you're built to be, you're in the right place. Let's lock in, let's rise, and let's get to work. Welcome back to the BTB Project. I'm your host, Coleman Gearhart, and we are in step 10 of the BTB Blueprint. If you've been with me throughout the entire series, I want to pause for a second, not just to celebrate that we're getting close to the finish line, but to recognize how much has already changed. Because step 10 isn't about doing more. It's about realizing something that's incredibly fundamental. You don't have to become who you're built to be one day. You become that person through the way you live today. Step 10 of the BTB Blueprint is become. And it's not just an ending. It's a way of being every day. Why is becoming something different than a lot of other aspects of our life? Most frameworks that I've seen becoming the strongest version of ourselves has a framework that's typically an achievement. It's a goal, a milestone, a destination. There's not much said about what happens to you as you're accomplishing those things, but it's the person you're becoming. The BTB Blueprint typically ends with identity because chasing outcomes keeps you stuck in the not yet. Have you ever felt like that before? A lot of people during this time of year will have a vision board and they'll be focusing on all of these different goals, all of these different tasks, all of these different milestones that they're trying to reach. And you almost get this feeling of no matter how much success you have, that you're never going to be to the mountaintop, that you're never going to fully execute and succeed the way that you want to. But becoming someone shifts how you show up now. I want to make that very clear. When you become, this is when discipline feels natural. It's when choices align without any force or walls or barriers in your life. It's this free flow state of well being. I desperately hope all of us can experience one day in our lives. You stop proving and stop trying to compare, making sure that you're always above somebody else. That's not what I'm talking about when you're becoming who you're built to be. This is when you actually start living your life. This is when effort turns into this feeling of freedom. I have this quote I came across early last year that talks about our desires. And this ties very applicable to this concept of who we're becoming, because it's completely opposite of the way that we think, especially how I think, being a testosterone driven male that wants to blow down walls and blow down doors to go after my goals. And no matter what it takes, I'll sacrifice, I'll suffer, I'll go through whatever it takes to accomplish that goal. But that's not what this quote talks about with our desires and our goals. It says desire plus eliminating barriers equals desired result. Desire plus removing the things that are not allowing us to become who we're built to be will allow us to create our desired outcome. I've shared that quote with multiple students of mine, and some of them challenge me really hard on it. They're saying, "Coach, I don't understand how, if I focus on the things I need to remove, what am I supposed to add to get better?" And that's the point, is eventually if we keep trying to add and add and add and never feel like we're becoming the strongest version of ourselves, mentally, physically, that can be something detrimental in our BTB blueprint and our walk. So let's walk back through the blueprint so that we can connect some of the dots on who we're becoming. You didn't wake up one day and just became who you were built to be. You didn't eliminate all of the resistance in your life for that desired outcome. You did it step by step, day by day, able to look at yourself in the mirror and walking through the steps of the blueprint. You've studied, you faced your story. You brought back up all the things that you know are part of who you are, and some things you're proud of and some things you aren't so proud of, but you've made it into a story, made it into a testimony that will not only impact your life, but impact many other people's lives. You've decided, you chose who you're becoming. You've made that definition. You've put it in writing. You've prepared. You aligned your environment. You align the circle of influence around you to make sure that you have the structure around you to accommodate your built to be journey. You've begun. You moved before you felt ready. It's taking that first step. A lot of people have a hard time with that first step, but you don't now. Through trusting the process. You've put in the work. You showed up consistently. You've done the things that are sometimes considered boring to chip away at that rock of life, to know that there are diamonds on the other side. You've saved, you've protected what's mattered, all of this progress that you've made to this point. You've been able to put that in your safety deposit box and protecting the progress of your goals. You've been able to listen. You've learned to hear the signals. You've been present. You're not too far ahead, not too far behind. You're smiling, having a smile authentic, along the way allows you to stay human, allows you to stay someone that's approachable, someone that resonates and impacts other people's lives. And you've been able to persist. You kept going. Even when quitting made sense, you decided to keep taking another step. And now, when you become, this isn't a reward for perfection, it's the result of repeated alignment. I remember very vividly when I realized I had become in my life. And there was no single moment where everything clicked, but the no dramatic finish line, the no parade, the no announcement, it was actually quieter than that. It wasn't this heroic feat where I felt like I became who I was built to be. It was the realization that on my journey, I didn't quit when things got hard. When my mom needed to go to rehab at 16, I didn't run away from that. I faced it head on. I began to trust myself again. When I was losing weight and chipping away at my goals of changing my body, I began to build trust rep after rep, run after run, good nutrition decision after good nutrition decision. I stopped running from my story. I accepted the fact that I'm a child of an alcoholic. I accepted the fact that I just grew up in a family that wasn't the right support system most of the time. And I'm not always going to point the finger and say that that was their fault. It was just a lot of generational family trauma that I was looking to break out of. But I accepted that part of my story. I stopped needing validation. I didn't want to be known as the guy that accomplished his tennis goals, dreams, and ambitions. I wanted to be known for the people that are able to accomplish their goals, dreams, and ambitions. I wanted to be able to pay back something that changed my life. And I kept thinking to myself, if I can just impact one more life, as my mom said right before she died, go help people. I wanted to live that legacy. And I wasn't just trying to become disciplined anymore in my life. I just became disciplined. Long before I got married and had children, I developed the muscle of discipline. I wasn't trying to chase confidence anymore. I'll have my moments of insecurity and self-doubt, but ultimately, through faith and by the grace of God, I was grounded. I knew that I was good enough. And that's what becoming really is. The truth that I want to make sure you understand as the listener is most people miss who they become because they're still looking ahead instead of noticing who they already are. I'm going to say that to you again. Most people miss who they've become because they're still looking ahead instead of noticing who they already are. So what does becoming actually look like in real life? I hate to break it to you, but becoming is not flashy. I'll tell you exactly what it looks like. It's doing the right thing when no one's watching. I teach that all the time. It's what you do when no one's watching is when you get really good. So what are you doing in the dark? What are you doing when the cameras are off? What are you doing in silence? What are you doing when no one's watching? Are you making decisions that align with your values day after day, hour by hour, minute by minute, second by second? Every decision dictates the trajectory of your life. Are you responding now instead of reacting to situations? Have you become someone that's patient? Are you choosing consistency over intensity? Anybody can go do that hard, grueling workout. But my question is can you wake up and do something again tomorrow and the day after that? Have you been able to structure your life to be consistent? When I think of this in business, have you stopped chasing titles or positions and just started building trust with your team, your colleagues? Has trust been built? When I think of leadership, are you stopping trying to manage impressions and start actually modeling behavior? Anybody can be impressionable. I've been stuck on this recently is I want to be someone that can help impact lives, but can you actually live a life to where instead of being motivating, instead of being encouraging, are you actually inspiring? Are you an aspirational person? Are you inspiring others to become the strongest version of themselves? Are you modeling that? When I think of life, you stop waiting for confidence and you start acting from it. I'm so tired of people thinking that confidence is a waiting game. It's a decision that you make long before. And to stick with that and to trust it. Become is when your identity leads your actions and not the other way around. So, what are some actionable steps on becoming? How can we practice this? It seems kind of odd to think about how we can put this into action, but you actually can. So, I want to give you something concrete. Let's pull out your BTB blueprint journals, and on the top of a clean sheet of paper, you're going to write the word become. We have three things that we're going to ask ourselves. Number one is, who am I becoming based on my daily actions? Not your intentions, not what you would like to do, not what sounds great, but your actions. Who are you becoming based on those daily actions? I want you to write that down. Number two is, what does the person I'm becoming do on a consistent basis? Is it your sleep? Is it your physical training? Is it the boundaries that you've set to protect your built to be journey? Is it your relationships, your marriage, boyfriend, girlfriend, your Bible study group? Or is it your work ethic? What does the person I'm becoming do consistently? Write that down. Lastly, where am I still living as my old identity? This is one of the hardest parts about this step, is that as you study your story and you think back to some of the most difficult parts of your life, are you approaching that identity with shame, or are you approaching it with awareness? Where am I still living as my old identity? That question, and you answering it honestly, is truly how you become the strongest version of yourself. That's the eliminating barriers piece that I mentioned earlier that allows you to get to that desired outcome of who you're becoming. Lastly, there's a question I want you to ask yourself on this paper. What would alignment look like today? Not someday. What would your alignment look like today if you truly have become who you're built to be? Have that alignment written down. Have that foundation written down. Be specific on what it looks like. That's becoming. This blueprint was never about fixing you. I sometimes hesitate when I think about putting together a coaching platform to help people, because sometimes it's perceived how they are as a human being is not good enough. And that's not the case. You were never broken. This is about remembering who you are and building the habits to live as that person authentically. You don't need permission to become who you're built to be. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need a new identity. You need alignment. Your head, your heart, they are in alignment of one another for a reason. Step 10 of becoming is one of the most aspirational, climactic moments in your journey. This is where the past no longer defines you anymore. But the past did absolutely train you for who you're built to be. Listen, if step 10 of the BTB blueprint, becoming, impacted you, do me a favor, like and subscribe to the BTB Project. We are 2 steps away from completing the 12-step BTB blueprint, and I'm so humbled and I'm so honored to be part of this journey with you. As always, I'm proud of each and every one of you, and until next time, take care.